Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And today's talk is all about business, entrepreneurship, organizational culture, sales. And with that, we have Steve Tafaro. And Steve is an entrepreneur and he helps businesses with organizations and building the capabilities necessary, accelerating sales growth, improve shareholder value. He works with a lot of high net worth individuals, CEOs, and he's got a new book coming out, Winning at SaaS. That's the playbook that we're going to talk about, and I'm happy to welcome him to the show. So, welcome, Steve.
Christopher, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Yeah, I know it's quite interesting. I'm always the audience, we have a subset of the generation of doctors and talk about your experience and what you do.
My experience is it's pretty broad. First of all, I'm 81 years old, so I'll start with that. Now, hopefully, may encourage, but it could discourage your audience. I'm not sure. I started out my career as a teacher and football coach in New Jersey for 10 years and decided that I needed more. And I was lucky enough to join IBM. I was the oldest trainee in IBM's General Systems division, did well for my time there. I guess it was my coaching experience that enabled me to lead the country in sales for several years. I then, with some executives of IBM, we started a company called Software Plus. Now, this was in the early 80s, and software at that point in time, some people couldn't spell it. People didn't really know what it was. I was in the software business very early on. Oracle hired me as their head of retail industry marketing in 86. So I was late to start my career in technology, but in 1990, I started Tafaro and Associates. And the question is, what do you do? So it turned out that the biggest skill that I can offer was my selling and marketing capability. So companies hired me as an interim president or executive vice president. When I say interim, a year to 3 years, reporting to a board to grow their business. And I had to essentially grow shareholder value, grow top line growth. It was not a turnaround. I worked with the folks in the business, which was interesting. And from 1990 to 2010, I had 11 engagements. We sold 4 of those companies and hit some doubles in that regard. But I've learned a lot in that experience. It was tremendous, which I can get into. And then after that, I just started doing advisory work, and I became a chair, a CEO chair with a company called Vistage International, the largest CEO company in the world, where I had 20 CEOs in New Jersey of smaller companies in the 10 to $20 million range, and just provided coaching for them using the Vistage programs. Did that for since 2013, and right now I'm an author. I'm very interested in doing speaking engagements, workshops, and very senior advisory work. How's that?
Yeah, so you have a lot of experience, which I'd love to delve into. And so, we'll kind of top it off with leadership and organizational growth. I love, discussing themes. And how have your experience with leading various corporate divisions influenced your approach to leadership? And what are some pitfalls in leadership in the soft tech and software that hinder growth?
That's a great question, Christopher. I'm going to answer it in several ways. I think it depends on the size of business. If you're looking at a smaller business, let's say in a $25 million range to 50, leadership and management are coexist kind of thing. I mean, a leader needs one thing, right? And that's people. And a good leader inspires people and convinces those people to get behind the leader in a mission and a vision. Okay, that's to me what leadership is. It is not management. And I think in a smaller company, the executive is a leader in some instances, but he or she is also managing. It's tough to do just one. And I think drawing that distinction is very important. I think it's critically important to do a couple of things. Have a culture. If you're a software as a service business, for example, your culture has to be centered around customer centricity, keeping a customer for life. It has to be very customer centric. That is a cultural thing. And I think that has to be instilled. Alignment is critical. Alignment when I came into an organization working with people who were there, they didn't know me, I didn't know them. We had to get into alignment. First thing I had to do was get into alignment with the people who were measuring me, the board. There were several instances where, because they can evaluate you on what they think success is. I think it's important that people get together to get a common framework around success. So I spent the first 2 months of these engagements aligning with the people who were managing me. Some cases, we were looking at software that was not scalable. They didn't realize it wasn't scalable. We had to talk about that because in order for me to be successful, we had to have a mutual one. And then it's aligning with the people. And to me, good management is leadership is the inspiration and the vision. Management is accountability, coaching the folks to be accountable so that we can scale. And I'll tell you, if you're interested and we have time, a technique that IBM taught me on that's I think great, would be great for your audience. Those things I think are key. The other is in terms of selling and growth, you need a process. You can't have people rub people down and send them into the market and say, do the best you can. You have to have a structure around fundamentals and principles. You have to have a process. You have to measure that process. And so it's all about those things. I can get into any area very deeply if you'd like. But I will say one thing. I think this is a good example. We would get executives, managers in a certain area of the company together. And we would say, we want to list everything it is that we have to get done. What do we have to do? What are the problems? And it was very interesting because everybody listed the problems. There was, in most cases, 30 or 40 problems. We got to do this, we have to do that. And so everybody's talking. And we said, fine, okay, now let's say, let's segment the problems. I want to know whether they're A, B, or C, but everybody has to be unanimous. So if it's an A, everybody has to say it's an A. And that caused a lot of discussion and with the folks in the group, in the meeting, and the ability to join a few of the issues together to make them an A. So we ended up having 6 or 7 A's, and I'd say, okay, what's the number 1 A? What's the one thing we have to do as a group? Now, all of this process was for people were contributing. They dived in. They had equity in it. And when you go through that and say, okay, what do we have to do for first A, and everybody has responsibilities, then they take them seriously. And we did that. We rolled that over for every group, every quarter. And it was a great way to get alignment and to get contribution and to get equity. And I would suggest that any folks in your audience who are in good management, try that out. It works very well. The group will discipline itself in a sense.
Yeah, that's a great response. And then next question is, because you were a SaaS company and talking about sales process optimization. Could you describe an effective sales process for the SaaS company, and how do you approach changing sales behavior within a SaaS
That's
team?
another great question. So I think this is important that you look at the company and what the company has to do. So what does a software as a service business have to do to grow and to be successful, right? It's so software as a service today is cloud-based, right? It's not like the old days when people bought software, paid a lot of money for it, installed it on their computers, and all you had to do was maintain it. And so the relationship with the customer was very casual. But software as a service says, we're delivering our solutions through annual subscriptions. And in order and it's not upfront payment. So if I sell a deal, a 3-year license for 72,000, let's say, that's the total value, total contract value. I can't book that. I can only book what I do monthly. So I can book $2,000 a month. So I can sign these contracts, bookings, but revenue is monthly. So what does that mean? It means that software as a service companies have a longer road to profitability because they're paying for the network and so forth as they're taking in their subscriptions. However, on the positive side, if they are customer centric and if they provide value, you will have a customer for life. So you sign a 3-year deal and you're offering value, and then customer re-ups for another, let's say 2 or 3 years. So the whole thing in software as a service is customer centricity. You have to have a culture that we have a perpetual customer. We have a customer for life. So what is that? How does that translate to your question about selling and so forth? To me, there's 3 things that have to be done. Again, this is to reinforce the business mission. First thing is you need new accounts. So you have to have a new account. You have to continue to go out and sell new accounts. But you also have to grow your current customers. You have to grow that base. And I think that it's different. Selling new accounts is much different from the capabilities that you need to grow an account. And so you need a very good account management group that's managed very well to grow the business, to become that consultant to the account. And you have to integrate those 2 with marketing. Because today, statistics are around 57 to 60% of people looking to purchase software or lease software don't involve the sales team until 50 or 60% of their search is over. So they're using the internet. And if they don't sense that you know what you're talking about, if your current customers don't sense that you are a leader in the field, they'll leave. And if your new potential prospects don't see value in what your marketing is saying, they're not going to engage. And so you have to have marketing totally integrated with account management and new account selling. And the last thing is what happens when they do engage. The last thing they want to hear when they engage is about your company and your products and your software. They know about that already. They probably know more about your company than the average salesperson knows about his company. They want to know how you can add value. How can what you do add value to me and my company? And that is the key. Customer centricity is adding value, and your process has to what you have to incorporate in your process is the ability to add value. Which I can talk about, whenever you want to. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's we're talking about value, and you talk on that line, value-based selling and customer relationships. And what is it? How does it differ from other sales approaches, and how can organizations transform standard transactions into long-term partnerships?
I think 2 ways. From a new account standpoint, we'll look at that, and then we'll look at it from an account management standpoint. For new accounts, I coach my clients to say, Christopher, listen, thank you for your interest in our company. We have a two-step process. First thing is I need to really understand how I can add value to your business. And I think you need to kind of look at our software just from a high level look and feel standpoint. That's what we want to do first. I have something called the Power Index, which I've developed that will like to talk to you about. It's about the operation that you run. And virtually it'll list everything that we do for your operation. I'd like to know, have that a discussion with you to see where you're overpowered, where you're underpowered. And we do that. We present the Power Index. You're looking at it. You're seeing things that you don't even know we can do. Everybody has a preconceived notion about what they need. They don't see the periphery of what they can have in many cases. So with the Power Index, we say, okay, so these are the 3 or 4 areas where you're underpowered. Step 2 is I'd like to show you how our solution addresses those areas. Then I'm going to ask you 2 questions. If you had our solution, what would it mean? What would it allow you to do that you can't do today? And let's put a value on that. And then we have that discussion. So I'm working usually in a new account situation. You're brought in by a management level person who is running a group that will use your software. And in a complex sale, there are several of these people that have to say yes, along with a financial person and an executive. So complex sale is multiple people, larger ticket items. You could take 3 or 4 months to close, but you got to win one over. And that is a great way to do it through the Power Index. Once you have the account manager's job is to do that same thing with other people in the company. You've got to cross-sell, you've got to upsell, and you've got to be perceived as a consultant to the business in the area that you represent, using that Power Index concept to show how you can develop value. Once you do that, you're not selling anymore. The client is buying. They're saying, well, we don't do this, we don't do that. I didn't realize this could happen. Boy, if we had that, we would be able to do these things that we can't do today. That's the new selling. That's what they want you to do.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting. And kind of we have 9 minutes left, and in the realm of marketing and sales alignment, why is alignment between sales and marketing crucial for the success of SaaS business, and what strategies have you found most effective in fostering collaboration between these 2 functions?
These are great questions, Christopher. Thank you. Because of the internet, people think the internet is a marketing medium. I think it's a buying medium. The internet has allowed prospective customers to be very knowledgeable about you, your business, before they even engage with you. They know a lot. I mean, they know about your products, your customers, your services, your reputation. They get on social media. So they're learning and they're spending most of their time before they engage with you doing that research. So from that standpoint, that's marketing. And it's very important to have good content. And that content has to represent the state of the art, what these customers need and what they're thinking of. So you've got to have very, very good content about how you've helped others, not about your what you do. Look at us. This is how we help this person who was just like you, and that person, and this company, and that company. And then that's critical. And they also have to perceive you as, if they're going to spend money on your software, that you're going to be around for a long time. You have an edge, you have dominance, you have leadership. So marketing is critical. And what we do is I believe in a pre-sales capability. I believe that a good way to bring young people into business is to look at the effects of marketing. People who have clicked on an outbound message, people who have come inbound and asked for information, and engage those people early using the Power Index and other things. We have scripts. We actually teach young people exactly what to anticipate, exactly what to say. It's very scripted because we have a young person meeting the client for the first time. And that person's job is to do two things, either have that client meet with a sales representative, or if they're not ready to move, we put them in a nurture category and we nurture the hell out of them. We just talk to them month after month after month, get to know them so that when they're ready, they come to us. So that alignment is very important, that pre-sales person kind of works for marketing, but also reports into sales. I think salespeople see the tempo, they know what's happening out there, and they should be meeting with marketing each month to understand what marketing is saying to the market, to kind of weigh in on that, to give client examples, and to just know what's out there and what's being said about the company. Too often, once a lead, marketing gets a lead, gives it to sales, and nobody hears about it anymore. And you can't do that. You have to be talking about these things today, and I think that's important. That's critical. Marketing, it will trump sales for early stage companies today.
And to top it out, how can people find you and contact you, check out the work that you do?
Best way is my website is stevetafaro.com. You'll see the book. You'll see what clients are saying about the book, what my clients have said, my bio, and how I can help. I am extremely interested, as I said, working with any of your listeners who are in need of a workshop, perhaps doing some speaking to a group, or very senior advisory work, using the book as this is a playbook. This is not, theory. This is how you do it. It's our way of doing it. It's been very, very successful. It's been tested and in real world, in the real world. So if I can help anybody move their business along faster, accelerate growth and value, I would be happy to do that. It's a way that I give back and I earn a couple of bucks, but it's high touch, and I'd love to work with anybody who has an interest in any of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And for all the audience out there, let's thank Steve for coming on, and be sure to give his socials a like and follow, and check out his resources, and they'll be in the links in the show notes. And thanks so much for coming on.
Christopher, thank you. And I wish everybody on your podcast best. Thank you for the opportunity.